Hey, what's up, Silas? I'm just going to talk about the Justice League movie. I just watched it, and I keep thinking Justice League of America. This is just part of it. Part of this whole thing is they're trying to make it more of an international thing, so they took out the Justice League of America part in it, and it's also the DC universe. I know it's ostensibly in the United States of America there. Comic books are American. But yeah, just off the break, taking out the Justice League. I think it was done in the comic books as well, and not necessarily just in the movie. But all in all, I thought it was a pretty decent film. It definitely last review I did was Thor Ragnarok, and that movie was fantastic. This movie definitely wasn't Thor. It wasn't that exciting. This was likely due to a couple of reasons, but I was watching it more, just breaking it down as a film, like from scene to scene, beat to beat, kind of going through like what's going on in this scene. How come you're just cutting into this scene when this family is actually doing something that's very related? I'm kind of wondering what's this family doing before, or why do you cut into this scene when this character is talking to this character at the exact point? And it's something I've noticed in film, and I know it's there because of the medium, the storytelling of it. But this could also be due to the fact that Zack Snyder started working on the film, then he had to leave, then Joss Whedon came in, and they could have been something that the film didn't really mesh as well as it would if somebody was telling their own story off the break. Well, anyway, the way I'm going to do this, I kind of was taking notes while watching it, and I'm just going to talk about the notes and then just go through it. So there's kind of going to be spoilers, so I'm going to be discussing this as we go from the trailers to the end of the film, then I'll say something at the end. Okay, so with the opening trailers, the first trailer was for Pacific Rim. I like the first Pacific Rim. I like big robots. I like kaiju, these Godzilla-type creatures from anime and manga. Might watch it. I don't think I'd actually... I don't know. I might watch it. But another thing I was pointing out was Americans seem to like blacks with British accents, because John Boyega, who acts in Star Wars, is the lead in Pacific Rim 2, and he had more of a British delivery in this. And I was kind of thinking how you have people from other countries kind of giving their delivery from their country, but there's not too many people who are... Well, that's the thing, John Boyega, this is the thing, people look at black people, but this just goes more to the thing that black does not necessarily mean African. Black is just a skin color, whereas if someone is like an Irish American, that normally means Irish. It's not necessarily just their skin color. Like, you don't say like, oh, this redhead pale person is an Irish American because of how they look. No, it's due to their actual ethnicity. No, is ethnicity right? Their culture, their nationality. Yet when it comes to blacks, it's like people do that off skin color, but black is actually more of a culture. So I think John Boyega might be a black European or British black British, black English, black Brit, whatever. Anyway, moving on. Next one was Coco, was Disney Pixar animated film for this so what's it called? This guy going to the land of the dead with the whole like something de la muerta, the Day of the Dead in Mexican, or... And now again, that's another thing, Mexican. Does Mexican mean the nationality? Does it mean the culture? Does it mean a race? What is it? What is it, people? Anyway, what is it, people? What is it to me, actually? But yes, Mexican should be a culture. So in Mexican culture, they have this Dios de la Muerte or something. I might be saying that wrong, but it seems like pretty cool. I'm probably not going to watch it, but cool effects, Disney Pixar, they know what they're doing with the visuals. I need to challenge myself and do this. Get some sub-Saharan African mythos. Probably Kenya, because that's where I have most people, that's where I have my expertise, that's where I am right now. But try to get some stories and develop that and see if there are kind of different archetypes or different kind of cultural things that can be made into more of a pop international storyline of sorts. Well, now the next part, Star Wars. The Star Wars ad for the next Star Wars with Daisy Ridley or something, and John Boyega again is in this. So he got 2 previews in the start of this film. He's doing well. I don't know, he's going to be the new Idris Elba, although Idris Elba is still the Idris Elba, as I mentioned before. But yeah, people are out there doing, so there's diversity out there. When people want to talk about there's not diversity in films, I think there actually is visual diversity, even though there's not that much, there might not be that much in storytelling diversity and the actual kind of stories that are out there. People talk about all these remakes and things like that. But yeah, good to see these out there. The Star Wars thing, I'd seen it before. Probably gonna watch Star Wars, not so sure. It's like a flip a coin thing. Well, anyway, okay, so now into the film. What, about 4 minutes into this review thing, rant thing. Okay, it's a rant review, so it's not necessarily just directly on it. So opening scenes, different things, talking about how Superman has died. And another point that I'm going to talk about here is something I'd mentioned before. It's saying like when people are shooting films, they should kind of just shoot extra scenes to be in the trailers. And I think they did that with the Justice League. In the extended trailers, there was a scene with Clark Kent, who's Superman, in the fields talking to Lois Lane, his fiance, wife, whatever, and there was an interaction there that was not there in the film, but was there in the trailer. At least I didn't see it. It might be in the extended version of the film that comes out in DVD or whatever, but it wasn't there in this one. Excuse me, I'm outside, so there's like background noise, but just bear with me. But back to the film. So it starts off, they're showing the intro, the world's kind of going to crap because, Superman is dead. They show some scenes with Batman going around, but they had this one scene to start off where they had the violence between some two white guys. They were bald, looked like more thuggish, not thuggish. Well, what's this archetype? The Chad type thing, the British thing, like the soccer hooligan type thing, or I don't know what the Guido, not Guidos. Guidos normally have hair in the United States of America, but this thuggish type of stereotypical like skinhead type white characters were harassing, assaulting, kicking at, like destroying the merchandise outside the store. That was, I think I was reading this, that this is ostensibly a store from a Muslim woman because she was wearing the headscarves, the coverings, and there was a kid there. So maybe this person was just being assaulted at the store, or maybe it was her store, but whatever. It was just showing there's a lot of tensions going on in the world, and I was like, okay, that tension between like white people against Muslim people in, I guess it's a predominantly white country. I don't really see it happening to that level. There may be some angst, there may be some tension, but I thought it was already. I was thinking, oh man, is this already going to be a thing? And now Joss Whedon, I know for specific Joss Whedon, he's more of a social justice whiner type, and so this could have been some touches where he's coming to put this in to show some tension. But yeah, I get it. It's in the social atmosphere. This is what people talk about, so it's something that people can read, and that's what I'm trying to do when I'm watching these films, and not just necessarily assume things on my point of view, but also see how would other people see it. But I noticed that and I was like, okay, so different interests for the different people. The Wonder Woman intro, I thought that was really cool how they had the Luddites, who were these terrorists who are Luddites going back to the past, and then that's also another thing. Some of the major terrorists you have in the world today are people who are still holding more of the Bronze Age type of translations of the religion of Islam, and they're actually kind of saying, let's go back to these things. And then you have these Luddites doing that. They want to go back to the prehistory. Now, also with the prehistory thing, this could be a take on gender relations. People saying people want to roll the clock back on gender relations. And then you have Wonder Woman come in, and she's stopping these people, and she's showing that, yes, we're not going to go back. We're still here. Women are powerful, etc., etc. And this is one thing I've seen. I've seen powerful female characters constantly in the film and in my personal life and in the world in general. So this stereotype or this narrative that there's no powerful women in the world and no powerful women in media, I think that's a big lie. But Wonder Woman, really liked her intro. Didn't see the Wonder Woman film. From what I saw in this one, I might actually go back and watch it, but probably not. But I liked it. I liked what they did with that. Then with Aquaman, I liked that intro with Aquaman being played by Jason Momoa. He did a good take on it. Okay, did he do a good take on it? I'll get back to that. Maybe. Let me just talk about it now. I don't know. He was kind of doing this dude bro type thing, but he was also I don't know. I'm more familiar with Arthur from the comic book, and he was more of a king and more stoic type. Just blonde. I used to think of him more as like more an aristocrat type person. They did not play that with Jason Momoa's character here. They might be an independent Aquaman film to go more into that character, but he was more just like a rough-edged biker type character than anything else in this one. I kind of liked how they did that whole interaction with him where he was not necessarily just an eco-warrior, because there was that plan, oh, he's a person in the ocean, so he's going to be like, oh, you're poisoning the oceans and whatnot, when they just made that quip about, oh, the human beings are melting the icebergs, melting the ice caps, and then he's like, I don't mind if the ocean gets bigger. And that's kind of a good point, because some of these things people talk about with climate change and other just general global things. Something might be negative to one person but positive to another person. So it's not necessarily a good thing to just think if something is inconvenient to me and the people that I like, I should assume it's going to be inconvenient to other people and get people on my side by virtue signaling about this. Then now with the Flash. I think for me, the Flash was my favorite character in this. I really liked his banter and just his character. I thought it was good. It was well played. There was something funny though. The run that he has. This came up later in the film. I kept seeing when they kept going into this lightning speed. I mean, this speed. And I'd seen this first in the X-Men film. One of the X-Men films, they had this Quicksilver character, and he was doing the slow time type thing. And I guess it starts with bullet time in Matrix, but I really liked how they did the effects of when the Flash taps into the Speed Force and how things slow down, and that was really cool. One thing I liked about his background, of course, his dad was being played by Reed Richards from like the original. No, was it Reed Richards from the original? No, this guy wasn't Reed Richards. What did he play? When I was watching that, I was thinking like, oh, this guy played Reed Richards in the Fantastic Four, and I don't think it was the guy. It was somebody else. What did this guy play as? Oh, I'm trying to think now. I'm going to look this up. Right back. And I'm back. The wonders of editing software and modern technology and the internet. It was Billy Crudup who played. Was it Crudup? He played Dr. Manhattan in Watchmen, which is a fantastic comic book film. To me, I think that's one of the best comic book to film adaptations I've ever seen. But yeah, anyway, it was cool seeing him in there. They might do more. This is the thing. A lot of these things are setting up, and there's possibilities for separate individual films with these people, or at least more Justice Leagues. I know the film isn't doing that well so far, but people might get over this Hollywood negativity with all the scandals and things like that. They might make a part two, even though it's not doing that well right now, and some of the people like Ben Affleck are kind of implicated in this ongoing Hollywood scandal, but we'll see. I probably kind of sort of would watch a second one, but yeah, back to the movie. So his dad, Barry Allen's dad, Henry Allen, was in jail for apparently killing his mother, and Barry Allen insists that he didn't do. So it's again wrongful imprisonment. This happens to men a lot. It was just International Men's Day, and there's false accusations, there's people being railroaded. I think I just saw somebody get released from after serving 45 years in jail for a rape that he probably didn't commit. And that's like, wow, I cannot believe just what would happen, what mentality. How do you even say sorry to this person? How does this person get restitution? Like, do you throw in the district attorney? Do you throw in the people who jailed him? Like, what do you do in this situation, let alone if it's a false accusation at the time of, let's say, sexual assault or other things? But yeah, I thought it was kind of cool that they gave lip service to this to show that, yes, some people are in jail for wrong reasons. I mean, some people are falsely imprisoned. And this is often a situation that involves men. So that was kind of cool. Now on to the Cyborg character. Okay, so there's this thing in Diversity in Comics. This channel on YouTube talks about how like all the new characters in comic books written by social justice warrior, Marvel, and type of creators make every minority character super genius. Like, oh, the Hulk right now, Frank Cho or something, is like the third most smartest person in the world. Then like Miss Marvel is like super genius, and they have like Riri Williams who's playing Iron Man is also super genius. So there's always like whenever they introduce some kind of minority character, they're always the most amazing this, most amazing that. So this when they like Cyborg is one genius intellect, I was like, ah yeah, okay, whatever. And also they managed to kill off the black guy before the film even started. But yeah, I thought that was just a little joke on the side, but bad joke, whatever. His character was okay. The little intro, kind of how he's adjusting to that. I really like that line where he's like, oh, you're afraid they're going to see the monster, and then the dad is like, oh, you're not a monster, and he's like, oh, kind of funny that you thought it was me. And they're playing the Frankenstein monster type thing there, and I think his character was pretty well done. Then now, after the intros, it goes directly into the film. The Steppenwolf character comes down to Earth, and he's chasing after these mother boxes and going to different locations. It started off on the island of Themyscira, where the Amazons are. Did watch the Wonder Woman film, as I said, but cool action scenes in this. I really liked how like everybody was sitting there with the arrows drawn, like they're waiting. That's kind of their guarding thing because they don't have like technology and stuff, so they don't have these guns trained on there. They have the actual Amazons sitting there with their bows knocked, ready to fire at whatever comes out through. And Steppenwolf comes out, and he just starts laying waste to these people. And the thing is, I didn't watch the film, and I'm not too down with like the Wonder Woman mythos, but are they human beings? Because there was a scene towards the end of this whole chase thing where a horse is on top of one of the Amazons, and she's like pinned under there, and it's like, oh, she can't move. Is this a super horse? Because I thought they were like super strong. I didn't think they were actually human beings. Or is it only Diana has some godly powers? I thought all of them kind of had like a lot more strength than a regular human being. So lifting a horse off of them would be something that they could do even if they had like some injuries from the actual attack. But anyway, they had some scenes there, and just a quick mention of this with the social justice warrior, just a crazy climate out there. People complaining about the Amazons' outfit, saying the Amazons in the Justice League movie wore a lot less clothing than the ones in the film. But I think in the Wonder Woman film, but in the Wonder Woman film, even in this film, some of them were wearing the full armor closer to Wonder Woman's, even more than Wonder Woman's. And then it was these few guards that were knocking down the gate. They looked to be some specialized guards that had more of the bikini things that people were complaining about. And it was also like a very limited time. And this goes back to what I'm saying. Are they superhuman? Because if they're bulletproof and things like that, then they don't necessarily need to have any armor covering them. Really cool. I'm going to do a separate video about this, talking about this. I'm rereading or re-listening to the Hyperion Cantos again, and they're talking about these future technology, this future suit, this skin suit that gives you all this kind of tech and invulnerabilities. So you don't need to have like all these different armors. It's just completely skin. It just goes over your body, so you can even see like if the person's genitalia and things like that. It's like it just literally just a second skin. So that's what you'd gonna have if you were invulnerable. And now, on top of that, this whole skimpiness, there was a lot of, I don't know, pecs and chins, pecs and dimples, pecs and abs, P and A. Okay, instead of T and A, which is tits and ass for women, I mean, for of women to reach out to men, I think there was a lot of P and A here, which is pecs and abs, which is I think the equivalent of reaching out to females, because like Henry Cavill was topless a lot. Like, of course, you have Jason Momoa taking his shirt off as soon as possible. I don't know if Ben Affleck is in shape to have the abs, but I think if he had that, they would have definitely shown it. But he had the suit on. But anyway, there was a lot more, I think, fan service for females than there were for males. Although that one outfit that Diana was wearing, Gal Gadot was playing Diana of Aragon. I don't know if it's Diana of Aragon, but Wonder Woman's character, she had this outfit when she was in the museum, when she actually, excellent outfit, cool clothes. I really like the design of the little thread or the, anyway, digression. But back to this. So yeah, there was more P and A than there was T and A, so people complaining about what the females are wearing are not also complaining about the male characters being walking around topless. But anyway, that's the double standards that do exist. One more thing on these workout hotbod things. When I see this, I'm watching this thinking I need to work out more. I've been in a lot worse shape and a lot better shape, and I want to get into better shape than I've ever been to, and I'm working at that. But when I see this, it inspires me to think like I need to work out more. But when women see these outfits of these like sexily dressed women, what do they think? Why do some women think, oh my god, that's horrible for those women, instead of like, hey, that should inspire me to do better? So speaking about women, back to when Wonder Woman was telling the history about what had happened when Steppenwolf fought in the past, they had the Green Lantern cameo, which is really cool. And I like the Steppenwolf character. He has this kind of bland, but it's a Juggernaut type character. Not Juggernaut in the comic book, Juggernaut in the traditional sense, where he just comes through and he's just running through things, destroying things. Until the end when, of course, I guess spoilers, there's going to be spoilers here, but Superman comes back and just, Superman's OP, he's overpowered. And I kind of like this kind of overpowered Superman where it's like, he defeats himself, you're not going to defeat him. Well, another cool scene, the underwater propulsion. I really liked how Aquaman swims. Well, he wasn't really swimming. He was more manipulating the water. So he's kind of putting himself in a little water capsule or something and just moving that around, and just moving the water around him, which is kind of a cool way of doing the whole like moving event. And that's why he couldn't fly in the air. Although they had, I wonder if, can he fly in clouds? Can he fly in like really thick clouds or something? But anyway, back to this. I mean, I like how the team came together. Not everyone was just signing on at once. Again, with the Flash, where this was already in the previews, in the trailers, where he's like, yeah, signing up right on, and he's like talking about how he's kind of awkward about it. I like the little extra things they're talking in there about things like how his metabolism is running really high. Similar thing with Quicksilver's character. You always see Quicksilver's character kind of munching on things, depending on which Quicksilver. Not the Avengers Quicksilver, but the X-Men Quicksilver. They have him kind of snacking a lot, and that's how his metabolism is running high. They might have had it in Avenger once too before he died, but anyway. So spoiler, he dies in Avengers. So yeah, back to this Justice League thing. So when they have Batman, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, and the Flash meet Gordon on the top after the bat signal comes up, and the team's kind of coming together to form, when the whole disappearing thing, I don't get that. Is that just a gimmick they do? Like, why would they do that? That's kind of dick. Like, why would they just all of a sudden just dip out when somebody turns their back? It's kind of funny with the Flash sitting there. You'd think the Flash would be the fastest one to do it. But then they have the thing, the Flash is fast, but when he moves, he does that lightning thing, so it's also flashy. It's not necessarily, like, sneaky or anything. Whereas these other ones were rather sneaky. I don't understand how Cyborg moved so sneakily, but maybe with the constant upgrades, he figured out a way to do some stealth flight thing. Wonder Woman, I guess you could just, like, sneak off. She's a warrior and stuff like that. And of course, Batman has that disappearing thing. So yeah, really like the action that was in there. They had the different action scenes, the flash time again thing, how they had him go through the interactions, him being kind of young and shy and things like that. I really like the dynamics. The characters were characters. I feel like they were actually individual characters that played off of each other in a pretty good way. So the story goes on, and once the team's there, they think, okay, we need to have Superman back. And they figure out what's happening with these three mother boxes that are going to come together and then call for the destruction of the Earth. I think the mother boxes are related to the new gods, and they're also related to what's his face, Darkseid. And I think Darkseid is going to be there in future ones. I hope they do one with, what was that character? There was this character, this massive starfish in the bottom of the ocean. I think that would be a cool one to do, but I just want to see the effect of it. Actually, no, I don't. Whatever. Okay, so the salt at bringing him back, that I think that was just to set up tension, because I don't think they would have to really be against that. I don't see why Wonder Woman would be really against that. And then, of course, he actually lets it happen, so she could have stopped it if she wanted. But just bringing it up, being like, oh no, we're not going to do this, like, oh, whatever. So anyway, the objections end up being actually realized, and Superman comes back, and he's lost his mind. At least he doesn't really get what's going on, and he's very pissed off and angry. And then has a showdown against Aquaman, the Flash, Cyborg, and Wonder Woman. And he's handing it to them. And then it's really cool when they go into the Flash time, and then Superman kind of looks over. First he just looks over the eyeballs and he turns his head. And then he knows that he's staying in this Speed Force thing, and he's actually fighting the Flash. And the Flash is just a little tiny bit faster, avoiding most of the hits. And since he's not a fighter, even though Superman is, Superman has more moves and actually catches them, even though he's might be slower. But that happens, and also I really like the modded Superman theme that was going on during that fight scene. I thought that was a really cool touch, just have that kind of sampled into what they were doing there, and then ends up coming by. I don't know what the big guns were. I actually thought the big guns were going to be some kind of like kryptonite weapon or something, but that was already done in Batman v Superman. Was it Batman versus Superman or Batman v Superman? Whatever. They should have been versus. If it was V, that's part of the reason it did badly. That's what I'm saying right now. But bringing Lois out there, I think that was another good touch. As I said, female characters are strong. Humans are a complementary species. We are sexually dimorphic and we have different values and different powers. And that whole idea that they say behind every strong man is a stronger woman, well, also behind every evil man there could be an evil woman. Men do things for women. That's a lot of the things. And having those be the big guns, I think that was a good touch, that she comes out and then that kind of brings him back to life. And that ties him down, this alien being, ties him back down into humanity, into being just a human being, being part of Wananchi. Okay, Wananchi is citizenry, or just the people of the country in Swahili, and I think that fits for him. It just makes him part of countries, part of the world. Wanamun, no, what Binguni? No, Binguni. I think Binguni might be heaven. Something. What is? I don't know what the earth is in Swahili right now. I can't think of it, but person of the earth anyway. And they also had that other tie-in where Bruce was talking to Alfred. This might have been after, where he was saying, okay, we need Superman because Superman is more human than I am. And that was a cool touch to show that, yes, this human being is very alien to regular people, yet this alien came in and has actually had a life within the human beings. And again, this could be more social commentary, but I think social commentary also kind of matches what happens in art versus art actually matching what happens in social commentary. These are regular tropes that exist in humanity. But back to the strong female thing. They also had this, back when they had the tension of talking about bringing Superman back, and Batman was pushing Wonder Woman's buttons, and then Wonder Woman comes out and says, like, yes, I see that you were trying to push me to take the lead, and then she ends up taking the lead. She leans in, like Sheryl Sandberg said from what's called Facebook's SEO or CFO or something, that whole lean in book saying women need to lean in at the workplace. So this kind of shows like Batman was pushing her buttons and she reacted in a different way. But then she comes up and says, okay, I see what you were doing. And actually she takes it on that lead. But then Superman comes back and Superman explained it, or Superman led it. I don't know. Anyway, but he comes back and he takes kind of the lead at in the last fight scene, in the last arc. No, is the last arc in the last battle he actually comes back after spending time with Lois. But that just shows that yes, there's different ways females and males interact, even though they're super females and super males. One thing I was wondering though with Batman, a few lines. He said like, "I'm rich." It's like, "What's your superpower again?" When the Flash was asking him, he's like, "Oh, I'm rich." And I was thinking about the what's it called? The thing from Rick James. "I'm rich, bitch." And then there was also another time when somebody said unity, and then I was thinking unity. I just thinking about the Chappelle Show, and I need to watch this Chappelle Show again soon. That was some funny stuff. That's just on the side. I just wrote those down. And I thought it was funny. Another funny thing with the Flash when he saves that family and he's like Dostoevsky and kind of goes off into like Dosvidanya, which is like goodbye in Russian or whatever. And I thought that was funny. Well, on the topic of Dostoevsky, who's read Crime and Punishment? I tried listening to the audiobook and couldn't make it past a few chapters. I'll probably try it again. I'm actually between right now. I've been listening to some hard sci-fi. I think it might be the time to actually listen to some Dostoevsky while doing some art. And actually, that's the kind of stuff. These arts that are going on while this video is going on. I'm going to be playing the Superman one. I kind of just listen to these audiobooks and do these drawings and do different things. So I think that'll be good. That'll be a good one to do. So winding this down now. So at the end, that was another funny thing, was after the Flash got knocked down. And also the cool thing with Flash, he's super fast, but he has to have this suit, and he's technically just a human being that can run super fast. So one thing I was wondering was, when he was racing Superman, where they went into the flash time, into the speed time thing, his running form was really awkward. It reminded me of this video of the daughter in the Taken films running. They have this super cut of just different scenes where she's running really awkwardly. So yeah, I thought he was running really awkwardly. Now this might be because I've had a background in some sports back in the day and actually went to like a speed and strength training course, and these different courses would actually teach you how to run. And when you watch people in the Olympics, they have certain form and everything, and I thought his form was really bad. He was like wasting a lot of movements. I think, okay, he'd be a lot faster with it. Not with it, but a lot faster running if he actually had good form. But then does that have anything to do with it? Does he just tap into the speed force? Is he just a regular guy and maybe later on he'll actually learn better form? But I think if you were the Flash and you knew your power was running, you could just go online. He's super fast so he can do things really fast, but maybe can he like fast forward things really fast and read through it? But he could have trained to run better. Or maybe I need to look at slow motion runners, like slow motion Usain Bolt, and maybe he does look kind of awkward between those little movements that we see, and that's something you don't necessarily see unless you're actually seeing it in slow motion, because I think with a production this big, I don't think they would have him run awkwardly unless it was intentional. Maybe they've actually done enough studies and that's what it looks like when somebody's running in slow motion really fast. But though they also have the whole thing where I don't know when he was struck by lightning, where he started getting into Speed Force, and I also don't know. They had these things where he kept tripping over himself. Okay, he tripped over himself, I think, twice. So maybe he is just coming to understand his powers. And if you just take a regular person off the street and ask them to run, they probably run kind of awkwardly too. They're not running like Olympic sprinters. So yeah, what I was saying with the Flash was after he got knocked down by Steppenwolf in that last end, before they did the teamwork thing and ended up breaking his axe, and Steppenwolf was attacked by the little demon like minions that he had going with him, which is kind of showing that those minions don't necessarily follow Steppenwolf himself. Those minions are attached to something else, which is probably the Darkseid and the whole like New Gods thing. They're just minions. They're minions for another being. So if you don't have the power anymore, they attack you, and then that kind of shows that there's actually some other person on top of, I mean, higher than Steppenwolf. But they had the Flash after he was kind of laying on the side there, kind of like in that drama, like one of your French girls pose from what's it called Titanic, where Rose was being drawn by, what was his name? What was Leonardo DiCaprio's character's name? Jim? Jim? Was it Jim? I don't know. Anyway, so that's it for now. This was like a rant review. I think I'm going to start doing more of these. I want to do ones, like I mentioned, I was reading those books. I'm going to do one for Hyperion and these other mangas and anime that I've been talking about, that I've been reading, not talking about, that I've been reading, where I just go through points and kind of give my comments on it. Didn't think it was going to be this long. If you've listened to this, thanks for listening to this. The illustration that was going on, as I mentioned, it's Superman from this Doe series I have. I'm going to do a video shortly talking about that Doe series and some other things that I do. We're going to start trying to push that a little more. There's going to be links below to the merchandise store where you can get some of this merchandise. I'm probably not going to put this up. In the last rant review thing I did, I talked about Thor Ragnarok. and I put up the Thor Ragnarok thing on the Redbubble site, and it got taken down for copyright. So I need to double check and see what's happening with certain copyrights of certain things. I'm going to start doing more of my own creations or talking about things that aren't copyrighted, that don't have these big tentpole type, lot of big money behind, who can go on down click things, take things down, knock things down. But anyway, that's it for this video. Thanks for listening. Like, share, and subscribe. Links below. Check them out. Let me know what you thought about the film. Would you suggest somebody watch it? I think for me, if you did not dislike Batman v Superman, Batman versus Superman, then watch this. But as I said, I was watching it in more of a just it was more of a clinical thing. Like I said, I don't know if that was due to my mentality right now, where I am in my mind space, or it was just because it was more of like a formulaic thing. And as I said, Joss Whedon and Zack Snyder worked on this together, so that could be the piecework things and things putting things together. They may have even changed some things around after this whole Hollywood scandal thing to try to change how it's going to come up for certain topics being talked, certain things being added, although I don't think there was actually any reshoots since the Harvey Weinstein and the scandal began. So yeah, that's it for now. Till next video, goodbye.